Ben P donates $50 and says, "You guys rock. Much love from everyone at Gearbox Software."
Yeah.
You can get on the couch all the time. Someone can.
Yeah, no one like this.
Is it coming, right?
Yeah, he said he's running pretty good. So when Bill can get on the couch and
Zooming.
An open spot on the couch.
That's Ray, you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I recognized you in practicing. I just didn't put it together. You're pretty badass at X6, man.
Yeah.
That game's pretty fun to run.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Do what?
100. 100%, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
100%.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, go. Great start. That'd be a reset.
Skipping those cutscenes is pretty much luck, even if you're matching as fast as possible. Sometimes you'll skip the cutscene instantly, sometimes it'll take an extra second or two.
I think it's the GameCube version has a problem with skipping them.
Yeah. GameCube's the only version that has a problem skipping them.
So what you're seeing right here is Sneaky doing a technique called /-cancel in the abbreviated SDC. And essentially what happens is when you slash, you can cancel that with a dash, and you can cancel your dash with the slash. And since you have no lag from your first slash, and a lot of bosses don't have invincibility frames from first slash, you can repeatedly just use your first slash in SDC to do a lot of damage really quickly. So you see him do that against a few of the Mavericks and some bosses later on during the Sigma stages. And to clarify, this is the GameCube X Collection version that he's playing on right now. The PS2 version has a lot more loading time than the GameCube version, but it also has a glitch with slash beast where he just stands there and roars at you. So the PS2 version saves time with that. But the GameCube version has much faster loading times.
And I am playing on a PS2 controller with a help of a converter for GameCube, so just to clarify that, I am using a PS2 controller on GameCube.
So right there, what you saw Sneak do is jump all the way back to his initial position after the first slash, and that manipulates the boss's AI to stand in place and attack, right? Otherwise, he's going to go up in the air
And
where
fly
you can't slash
away.
him. Yeah.
And it saves about 3 seconds doing that. And that's the only manipulation you'll see in this run.
Yeah, X4 has a lot of RNG. Like if you thought X1 has, and other X games have a lot of RNG, but the bosses can really screw you over in this game, especially General.
Just Stingray.
Stingray's pretty bad too. Yeah.
I love that guy.
He's such a bro.
Yeah.
So to explain the boss order that Sneaks is doing, he's going to do Magma Dragoon first. And that's because the ability you get for is Ruenging, which is useful in almost every stage afterwards, and it's useful against a few bosses as well. And it's also needed to get a few upgrades like the Heart Tank and Web Spider stage. So after that, he's going to go to Cyber Peacock stage, and then Split Mushroom stage. The reason for that is because after you beat Split Mushroom, you get Qembu, which actually does less damage on Cyber Peacock. So you want to use Cyber Peacock stage before Split Mushroom stage. And by beating Split Mushroom as early as possible, but after Cyber Peacock, you get Double Jump, and that's useful for the rest of the run. And the order of the rest of the bosses doesn't really matter.
I wanted to call serious time on this part. There's a couple of tricks that are really hard to do in this part of Magna Dragoon stage. First one is coming up.
Those two jumps over the... Oh, sorry. Nice.
That's called mechless, for lack of a better term. Not many, well, any other runner that I know of does that. That's a task strat that I've adopted into my RTA. I did a 24-hour stream a little while back, and I was messing around with X4 and other strategies. And I was watching the tasks, and I was like, oh, I think I'll try doing mechless, and I found a way of doing it pretty consistently, as you saw. So it's just, the setup is like very pixel perfect. You can't be too close to those mechs or they'll swing at you before you get over them, but if you're too far away, they'll turn around and hit you before you can jump away from them. So it's a very specific setup for that. And that saves about 2.5 seconds if you don't get hit.
Mike from Canmore donates $25.84 and says, my mom is battling ovarian cancer and my father-in-law has stage 4 tumor, so cancer is no stranger to me. Fight the good fight for speedrunners.
Got the despawn. There's an orb up here that you had to hit out of the way, generally, but there's a way you can despawn it and it saves like half a second. You had to climb on that first ledge very low and it despawns it for some reason. I do not know why or how.
If you notice something in general, Sneaks is avoiding killing as many enemies as possible, and that's because, aside from your first two slashes, pretty much all of Zero's attacks have a lot of hit lag. So using an air slash on any enemies or your third slash or anything like that will cause more hit lag and will slow you down ultimately.
It is used to your advantage during one boss fight though, and I'll explain that when we get to him. Very average cyber peacock fight. You want him to appear to the side so you can do jump slashes because that does the most damage to him fastest. Him appearing on top of you is the worst thing you can have happen, and him appearing in front of you is okay because you can still get one jump slash on him before you have to regen him. So you can still get some damage on him before he disappears.
In general, on a lot of the Mavericks, there are some Mavericks who use their weakness.
I picked the right stage this time.
There are some Mavericks where using their weakness is actually slower than just attacking them with your air slash or SDC. And that's a big reason for that is because when you damage a boss with their weakness, they have a really long period of invincibility where you can't damage them again.
Nice.
Nice.
Good climb.
The last part of the climb is really difficult to pull off like that.
This is the only stage that has absolutely no RNG, including the mid-boss and boss fight. So if you're not a fan of RNG, this is probably going to be your favorite stage. And of course I messed it up. I forgot I took too much damage. That's how it's supposed to go when I don't mess it up.
If you remember what we mentioned before during the previous stage, the first slash doesn't have any hit lag, and that's why you see Sneak's attacking these with the SDC because there's no hit lag. If you use the air slash, you'll slow down the auto scroller.
Oh yes it is. Another thing I'm doing there to reduce hit stun, because whenever the boss has invulnerability frames, any extra hits that's done, especially at 0, since there's hit lag and you're swinging your saber out, it causes the game to slow down a lot. So the less that you hit them during their invulnerability, the better. So I was turning away from split mushroom after I got the initial hit on them to reduce in-game lag.
So from here on out, the boss order doesn't really make much of a big difference. He's doing Storm Owl now because the ability you get from Storm Owl destroys enemy projectiles, which helps in the later stages.
It can help if mistakes are made.
We have a $50 donation from an anonymous donor. This is the first time I've watched the stream live, but I love everything I've seen. The games are great, the commentary insightful, and the cause is wonderful. I hope to see a day wherein the world is cancer-free and full of great games.
Air dashing is the fastest way to get through that first part with the mech. Dashing is the slowest, actually, so you want to air dash as much as possible with the mech. Oh my god.
That was close. Oh. That was close.
I didn't get enough damage on him when the initial boss fight started, or mid-boss.
So RNG on this boss is complete guesswork, and it's terrible. You pretty much have to guess which corner he's going to come out of, and then anticipate and use your third slash. Because your third slash damages hits Storm Owl multiple times.
For some reason, Capcom decided instead of giving him vulnerability frames, they gave him a shield. And the shield isn't activated by the third slash because I guess they assumed, oh, well, the players aren't going to be able to get a third slash because it'll be activated by the time the third slash comes out. Well, if you time it correctly, you need that third slash to come out and it hits him multiple times. So it basically removes any invulnerability he has.
That was a good fight.
And also you want to use Rocket Ho-Ha against him, that's his weakness, but for each orb that hits him does the damage though, so you want to wait until he's as close to you as possible so you can get the maximum amount of damage like you saw there. Stop the coop now. God, voice acting in this game.
You really like the Iris cutscene, don't you?
Sure. Now the first part of this stage is actually on a universal timer. You still want to go fast, but it doesn't matter, like you can get hit a couple of times and still make it within the time frame. Because it doesn't matter how fast you go, you're still going to have to wait at the end for this timer that determines when the screen transitions into the second part of the stage. So you didn't take damage and whatever, but you had to go a little bit faster if you do. And as long as I beat this mid-boss without any like major mistakes, I should be able to get the fast transition. Got it.
Nice.
Sometimes you can be sitting there waiting for like 5 or 10 seconds for it to transition into the second part of the stage. And just like Zero, the right armor creates a lot of lag when you're destroying enemies with it, so I'm just going through here damage boosting with it, and this armor is chasing me. Okay. And I got quick breaks. That is completely random too. You can sit there and wait for it to... You can't continue past that train until it breaks, and it can take anywhere from like instantly to 5 seconds to break, so it's stupid, and I do not know how that is determined. I cannot figure it out. The only thing I know that seems to be consistent is if I saber right before I land on the train, it seems to activate the brakes faster. So I don't know. we're coming up to my least favorite stage of this entire game. You want to explain that? Jet Stingray when it comes to it?
Jet Stingray is kind of like the Storm Eagle of X4, and he can waste a lot of time by diving, and every time he dives, you can only get 1 or 2 hits on him, and he wastes. The more dives he does, the more time he wastes, and he can dive as many times as he wants, essentially. And he can lose up to like 20, 30 seconds even if he wants to. So it gets really bad.
And not to mention the stage is complete butt. For lack of being able to use a more colorful word I'd use to describe the stage.
So during the bike part here, you see Sneak doing a very short jump and then dashing down into the ground. And that's the fastest way to move through the stage because you go into air and then you land and then you can immediately act again.
Oh, and I'm dead. That's why I hate this stage. Sometimes it doesn't register the jump. Inputs get eaten on this stage a lot, like there.
Bad.
Yeah. The stage is... This is a stage, that's all I can say.
We have a $250 donation from Gene Materi. Sneaks, you're the best at X4 with 0, and you know it. Keep going that way, bro. Big shout out to Canister, Kirby Masta, Jaka, the team at Lubindi, Duckfist, Kirbion, and anyone who recognize me as a friend.
That was actually not too bad.
Yeah, there's one extra dive, but what you want him to do is you want him to shoot out Stingrays twice and do 1 quick dive. That's the best pattern you can get. But you want him to do the quick dive either the first or the second time, because if he does it the third time, he's not going to drop down, obviously, so...
What?
Which are the 2 Fire Emblem games you want to see?
Sacred Stones. So there's this minor trick here that Sneaks just used, and basically, if you're doing a dash jump, you can't do a double jump or an air dash out of that. But if you take a hit, then you can pretty much do either of those two actions out of it. So what he did there was he did a dash jump into a beehive, and then he was able to air dash out of it after taking a hit. And this applies to X as well, so you can hover after taking a hit or air dash.
Now, earlier I was talking about how the Z-Saber causes frame rate issues. I recently learned by reading up on the tasks of this game, the quick kill has a 60 frame window of damaging web spider when it's above the screen. So the frame rate issue is the Zero Saber causes so much hit lag that it slows down that frame window, so you have a lot more time to hit him and get the quick kill.
This boss is a lot of RNG as well. You pretty much just have to guess where he's going to drop down. So Sneaks mentioned the web spider quick kill, and essentially what you do is you have to damage him just before he goes up the screen, and then you have to stay off screen, and he has pretty much no invincibility frames, so you can repeatedly damage him while he's off
60
screen.
frames, yeah.
And it's absurdly hard to pull off, and really luck-based as well. So an interesting route change that you could do that's really hard to do is to do Frost Swallowers before Split Mushroom. Because what you can do is you can use the ice weapon on the mini boss with Split Mushroom, and that speeds it up a lot. The problem is the heart tank. You have to get the heart tank without double jump, but that's absurdly difficult.
Not heart tank, the X tank.
The X tank, sorry. So like pretty much no speedrunners do that route because it's just absurdly hard to do.
It's iceless on steroids because there's no frame of reference that you have for that ledge. It's pre-rendered 3D graphics over the ledge, so you don't know where the ledge actually is.
This one right here.
And there's also no auto turn, and you don't have those pixels that Caleb talked about during his X run that you can jump off of. You can only jump off of the wall, so you don't have that little bit of extra room to jump. It's stupid hard.
This mini boss is more RNG. Not bad.
In the upcoming Lost Levels bid war, or character selection war, I guess, Luigi is ahead at $35, Mario has 0. We have a $50 donation from Adam W. You know, cancer is like a maverick, and the runners here are like maverick hunters.
That was very nice. So to talk about hit lag, the weakness of Frost Swallowers is the fire attack ranging. You always want to ranging backwards or ranging in such a way that you'll get hit early, because otherwise you're going to cause a lot of hit lag by hitting him repeatedly. So that's pretty much the 8 Mavericks done, and now he's going to go to the Colonel stage. And basically the idea with Colonel is his weakness is the ice attack, and if you basically damage him just as he's changing his animation, you can hit him twice with one attack, and that's very valuable in killing him really quickly.
You can hit him up to like 3 times, like just multiple hits. You want to score as many multiple hits on him as possible because obviously it speeds it up, but he can give you RNG that's not favorable for that, and we'll see what he does. Sometimes he can teleport away like instantly when he goes to the side, and that is not good. Good Colonel stage. Nice.
That was very good.
On the X Collection, there's a glitch. Colonel, Iris, General, and Sigma all have voice actors. They say a dialogue before the fight starts. On the X Collection, there is a chance that it skips that dialogue, and that saves about 1.5 seconds to 2 seconds. And that's what happened there. Colonel's supposed to say something before his life bar filled up, but I got lucky, and it skipped the dialogue. PS2 version has the guaranteed dialogue skip on Sigma 3 though, which is another glitch, and it always happens on the PS2 version. It can happen on the GameCube, but it's not guaranteed like it is on the PS2.
You want me to stay quiet for this, or?
I'll let it speak for itself. It's pretty self-explanatory what happens here.
Forgive me, Zero.
Oh. Sloppy. That was a very sloppy Iris fight, but the gist of it is you can just keep jump slashing her into the corner, and she doesn't do anything if you're fast enough. I completely butchered that fight. Oh, too bad, no cutscene.
Oh.
What are you fighting for?
Nice.
That was a really
That
good
bottom pack
perfect.
is a lot harder than it looks. And it's I'm not sure how much faster it is, but it's a bit faster with
It's
Zero.
1.5 seconds. Yeah. Like all the time saves in this game are very risky and aren't very rewarding.
Also, how you do in the entire run doesn't matter up to this point because General can screw you over.
RNG General.
R in General. Ah.
Oh my god.
Okay, there you go. Not that bad. RNG aside, that was a really good fight.
It wasn't too bad. He only messed with me a little bit. He can go across that room so many times and screw a run. Like, I've lost a minute plus on General alone on a run. But the gist of what just happened there is Zero's first saber attack does damage for every frame that is in his hitbox. And the only way you can obviously single saber him is if his fist is all the way up there next to his hitbox. So the idea is you want to SDC him slowly so the saber's in there doing as much damage as possible. So that's what happened there. and it just destroys general.
A lot of the bosses in the boss rush are the same. There's like one or two that are a little bit different because of the abilities you have now.
Split Mushroom and Cyber Peacock change up a little bit.
And the reason for that is because, again, as we mentioned at the beginning of the run, the QM attack that replaces your normal air attack does less damage to Cyber Peacock and Split Mushroom. Your original air attack does 3 damage to them, the QM does 2, so you actually do less damage to them. So you're going to see Sneaks use the
Different
electric weapon
strategies.
on Split Mushroom instead.
God.
Ah.
And yes, I was doing that on purpose because I hate that boss. But that's just to give you all an idea of how much hit lag can happen. Like for 1 second, the game passes by us like 3 or 4 in real time, so that's how you get the quick kill. It's from that hit lag.
We have $50 from Marcin Nepsui. A shout out to an excellent community coming together to do great things. Thanks. We have another $50 donation from an anonymous donor. It says, "You guys are awesome."
Let's see how Jet Stingray is this time. Nope. Not too bad.
Same pattern pretty much.
So this fight's going to be different from the first time. He's not going to just use air slashes. He's going to... This fight will explain itself.
I don't like where my health is at. That's close.
Real close.
Oh.
Kind of get a bit close here.
Yeah, this is going to be really close.
You might have to sub
I can survive one hit from Frostfire, so I'm going to do it.
Dang.
It's not over yet. Still got one more boss.
It's not over yet.
Quite literally. Ah, I was expecting to come down.
Oh.
I thought I timed that right. Oh well. The timing on that's so hard to not get hit by a natural word. Of course you come out of that side now. Troll till the end.
So the Sigma fights coming up are pretty self-explanatory. Just one minor thing: the Giga attack. He's going to use Giga attack once or twice on the second form of Sigma, because he's going to be in the air, and that Giga attack does more damage than your two-ended attack.
Actually, it doesn't. The reason I use Giga Attack on the second form when he jumps up in the air is to maintain my position for SDCing. Because you theoretically would want to jump slash him, and I would, but Giga Attack in there helps me maintain the position, so when he comes down, I can instantly start SDCing.
Very good fight.
And I got it. Slash Beast weapon has absolutely no use except for right there. There's an invisible wall that stops you from getting that health. And if you get that health, you're within range to do a reagent on the first form, or the gun form of Sigma's head, to get a little bit of extra damage.
Very nice. The gun form Sigma has 2 attacks, and one of them he says the end, but that wastes time because he doesn't stay there for very long. That was a very good fight. Get time ready.
Time is when he hits the last platform.
Because like in X3, you still have control after you beat Sigma. Even though you can't theoretically lose any time unless you're an idiot. Like I am right here. Time. Not bad. I'll let you have this cutscene, guys. Just for you, Twitch chat, and everybody else.
This cutscene.
Yeah.
So, this is what happened to me. This is my fate. I couldn't save anyone after all. Iris!
Please stop, brother.
We are setting up for Mega Man 03. We're going to go to a quick commercial break and we'll be right back.
Iris, did we Reploids all turn out to be Mavericks after all?